Hi, and welcome to Studio SN. My name is Sara Naumann, and today I'm going to show you a Brayer stenciling technique. You can see the Brayer stenciling technique here on the background of my card, and this was a technique that I discovered by accident, so I was really excited to be able to share this happy accident with you. So the first thing I need is my stencil, and this is a 6x6 square stencil from the Crafter's Workshop, and this is Garden Gate. That's the pattern. Now I also need a piece of lightweight paper. So I'm using just a piece of regular printer paper, not a heavy cardstock. A heavy cardstock does not work quite as well. So the lighter the better. Now I also decided to go with a pigment ink pad. And this is Iris. This is from Colorbox, which is made by Clearsnap. And they do beautiful, beautiful pigment ink pads. So it's a really luscious color. Now I'm also using a little mini brayer, and what I need to do is just ink this up by rolling it right onto my ink pad, kind of scrub it on there, and then I'm going to apply the ink on top of the paper. So I've got my stencil and then I've got my paper, and I need to sort of hold them together. I don't want to tape them all down, but I do need to hold them in place firmly. And your first instinct will probably be to really put on quite a lot of pressure, and that's exactly the opposite of what you want to do. Go with a light touch at first, because you can always add more ink, but you can't take it away. Sometimes if you start with a heavy pressure, it just results in some blobs. But take a look. Isn't this cool? It's like doing a brass rubbing almost. So I can go back and add a little bit more color, and I can press, once the ink is starting to rub off, I can press a little bit more firmly to make sure that I'm getting all of the areas of that stencil. So once I've got the complete pattern on here, I need to let this dry. Because it's pigment ink, it either needs to air dry for a while, or you can hit it with a heat gun too. But once I've got that dry, then I can play with it a little bit too. So I've got a piece that is already dry. And this could be used as is. It's really pretty the way it is. You could just trim it down, or you could punch pieces out of it, or cut it apart, or use it as a background. I'm going to play a little bit more with it and take that same stencil and put it down right on top. And I'm going to come back with another pigment ink pad, and this is also from Clearsnap. This is Pool. I love this color. And I need a dry baby wipe. And so this one is dry. I'm going to wrap it around my finger and then tap it into my ink pad. This is going to be my applicator. And I'm going to put the ink through some of the motifs on this stencil. So I'm just creating a highlight effect, and I'll show it to you once I've got a couple more down on here. The effect is really cool, and it's not a precise placement. So don't worry about lining things up perfectly, because the end result is going to look like, it reminds me of like batik fabric in an Indian bazaar or something like that. Not that I've been to an Indian bazaar, but it makes me want to go to India and buy handmade fabrics. So maybe it will similarly transport you. All right, so I'm going to show you what I've created so far. Get this off of my finger, and also need to clean my finger, but you can see when I lift this off, some of the areas have been spotlighted. Now let me bring back in my completed card, and I'll show you the rest of the card making techniques I've done on here. Now this has been trimmed down, and I've matted it onto white, and I matted it onto white cardstock because I really wanted to emphasize the areas that were still white of the background paper, because I think it makes a really nice contrast. I've also wrapped it with some sheer green ribbon, and I matted a portion of it onto it's like a lime green or grass green cardstock. I initially was going to try and match up this cardstock with the teal, but I like that color of teal, and so I've used up all of my teal cardstock. So I went with a lime, and I think it actually looks a lot better. Once this has been wrapped, I added a circle with a stamped sentiment on here, and the stamp is from a stamp set from Hot Off the Press, and this is called Heart to Heart, and it has a lot of really nice sentiments for card greetings. So it says, I heart you. I used a 1 3/4 inch circle punch to punch that, and then it's just put up onto foam tape. There's a little bit of gold embroidery thread on here and a gold brad. So that's just wrapped around, and then the whole thing is put down onto the card front. You can keep your whole card really simple because you want, of course, the background paper to be the star. So this is the Brayer stenciling technique. I hope you enjoyed my happy accident, and I hope you enjoyed watching today's segment. Thanks so much for joining me today. For more inspiration and tutorials, please stop on by saranaumann.com. Thanks again, and I'll see you next time.